Loading. Okay.
Okay.
Loading.
Okay. All right. Okay. So once again, thank you for everyone. And so as usual, we will start with our.
Okay, so on YouTube, so it doesn't need.
Once again, thank you for everyone.
Oh.
And so as usual, we will start with our.
Okay, so on YouTube.
Once again, thank you for everyone. I don't know what's going on. So as usual, we will start with our. Maybe do it over again because I can hear something.
Yeah, there was we were hearing both the YouTube live stream and the Zoom. Sorry, but now
that's just.
Yeah, I fixed it.
So is it fixed now?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's good. All right, so thank you. Just today, good morning for all of you, and good evening for me. So let's start with it. Today is our last day on the Lamrim teaching, but we will see again in the future. But let's start our teaching or the meditation. Setting proper motivation first, as you know, and. So are you all ready to do the meditation, visualization? Good. Yeah, I think Jason came a little later. Are you ready?
Yeah, I guess you're yeah.
Good. All right. Okay, so once again, thank you for everyone. So I can see Carrie, Neil, Melinda, Scout, and Jason. That's wonderful to see you all. And so the weather is getting warm now there, right? That's good. Summer is coming for you and also here too. Because, we live on the environment. I mean, we need to, what do you call it? I guess, the external factor and the internal, they both work together. So anyway, right. Let's sit properly. The most important thing is straight your spine. And just make sure that, you're very comfortable. And when you're, those who are sitting on the chair, make sure that you're comfortable, the spine. The most important thing is the spine straight. If our spine is straight, it's really help for channelizing our mind, because we are going to do single pointed meditation. And for that, we need to make sure that our body posture is proper, on right position, because the single point meditation, which we need to keep 4 points in our mind. Number one is the body posture, setting the proper position, and the 7 Virachana position if possible. If not, most comfortable way sitting. Comfortable mean not really lying or not really like but most importantly, just straight spine, and then your neck, your eyes, your mouth, and your just live in this like natural position. So the physical posture, and then the focal point. Okay, before going to the 4 points of the single point meditation, let's visualize that the fish wheel and then the bodhicitta fields, and then the purpose of practice. Think about these 3 points in mind, okay? So visualization meaning you just bring Buddha Shakyamuni right in front of you. Just imagine that Buddha Shakyamuni is in front of you, meaning, visualize in your mind, because you all know how Buddha Shakyamuni look like, right? The Buddha, just scan, just check with the Buddha's face, the body, the robes, how he sit in a meditative position. And then you just imagine that it's in person in front of us. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama, very important. If you could visualize His Holiness the Dalai Lama at the heart of Buddha Shakyamuni, that would be good. Let's try for a second to, visualize Buddha Shakyamuni and His Holiness the Dalai Lama right at the heart of his, Buddha Shakyamuni. And then the Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness is surrounded by like in Buddhas and Bodhisattvas from all 10 directions. So if you would like to name some of them, Arya Maitreya and Arya Manjushri and Arya Nagarjuna, Arya Sangha, and then, Arya Deva, Bodhisattva Shantideva, and all the way to Lamatisha, meaning like all the 17 Nalanda masters. And then, the 21 Taras, Avalokiteshvaras, and Lama Tsongkhapa, and then his 2 disciples, Gyaltsab Rinpoche and Khenpo Rinpoche. All the lineage masters of Lamrim teaching, meanings the great treatise, the gradual path to enlightenment. All the lineage masters from Buddha to until all the way from Buddha Shakyamuni, Arya Maitreya Buddha, Arya Manjushri, up to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, unbrokenly that brought from India to Tibet, and then spread outside of the world. So just imagine that they are all surrounded by His Holiness. Surrounded. They're all around the Buddha Shakyamuni and His Holiness the Dalai Lama. While you are visualizing the fish field, your mind should keep very clear and breathe just naturally, normal position. Naturally. So then the fish field, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are full of love, compassion, and they're looking upon us like the mother's looking upon their only child with love and care and compassion and the wisdom. They're radiating the shining lights from their face, their heart to us. Okay, so we have visualized the field So I think you explained a little bit earlier about what does it mean by refuge. I go refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that you have visualized in front of us, they're full of knowledge, wisdom, and compassion. So like we are little like a little child, and they are like they are parents, and then the children need parents or elders help, support, or protection. Same thing that we are seeking their guidance, their teachings, their model, their role models. So that's why that's the really meaning about I go for refuge in the Buddhas and the Sangha. So Buddha Shakyamuni, who is the teacher, the Buddha, the refuge, the refuge of out of the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Buddha. So Buddha means the teachers who taught the right path. Here, path meaning the path of our mind, how to transform our mind into reliable, more stable, more calm, more peaceful, more, assertive, more, positive. That's what the Buddha, that's what the teacher taught, Buddha. And then the teaching, which is teaching of scriptural teaching and the realization teaching. So the scriptural teaching that you have, like volumes and volumes of teachings that Buddha have given to us and which benefit immensely for the last 2,500 years, and then still benefiting now, and then it will benefit for many, many beings and creatures, many, many generations that come to that, will benefit in the future, because the Buddha's teaching is, the core, the essence teaching of the Buddha is how to cultivate, how to create, like compassionate individual, how to create most understanding individual, how to transform the individual mind, body and mind and speech into positive and the right. So everybody who is seeking that, no matter whether religious person or non-religious person, or the rich or poor, or powerful or not powerful, everybody seeks that. So because of that, the refuge field is important. So the teaching, then by listening, the teaching, by reading, listening, discussing of the Buddha's teaching on compassion, love, and kindness and wisdom, we can't do it just alone. We are very much depend on others. So those who are practicing, learning together, they are jewel of Sangha. So here Sangha means, spiritual companion who help each other to grow, to how to grow ourselves. So, the visual that we have visualized in front of us. So there are, like Buddha as well as Sangha, and then their quality, their mental quality, their path, their realization is the Dharma in the form of realization, and then the verbal teaching or the physical gesture teaching, and the teaching that in the volumes, these are the jewels of Dharma. All right. So that's what it means. The refuge meaning that you need some like a protection. So there are protection. We are seeking protection outside as well as inside, and we can find the protection within ourselves and look at our own good qualities. We are human being. We are all doing really, really good job to try to transform our own mind, to transform our mind, the disturbing mind into the undisturbing, meaning more understanding person, more, like a open person, more passionate person. We're all trying our best to do that. Because of that, the good quality that each one of us have, we rejoice. Just try to identify some of the good qualities that within ourselves, and you could just be proud of them, ourselves, meaning it's very important to uplift ourselves. Not really like uplifting me into the arrogance, but with humble, but also recognizing our own good qualities are very important. That way we feel more confident, we feel more courageous, and then we could grow, you know, grow gradually and become full of knowledge, full of wisdom, full of compassionate person. Okay, so because of that, in the refuge, the object of refuge, it exists external object of refuge as well as internal object of refuge. So it's very important to, to rejoice, appreciate our own good qualities too, and identify our own good qualities and try to, put effort to strengthen them. And then identify some of them, not useful or weakness, and try to deal with it, try to change it, right? So this is what does it mean by the refuge fields, okay? And then bodhicitta fields, which meaning why we are meditating, why we are practicing compassion, loving kindness, generosity, the six, perfection of practice. Because I want to become fully awakened. I want to become like a Buddha. I want to become a Buddha in order to be able to help, in order to be able to benefit all sentient beings. So for that, when you say, I want to take initiative to benefit others, and then it's good to just imagine that all sentient beings are surrounded us. They are all with us to take this, revolutionized sort of a journey to transform your mind into more good, mind, meaning valid mind, compassionate, understanding mind, and all other beings are also joining us, not only just one single person doing that, thinking that all other beings, all dear mother sentient beings, this is good to use sometime this your word, all dear mother sentient beings. So they're all dear and near to us, not really far or distant. There's no enemy out there. So all sentient beings are our mothers, like our near and dear one. So that's why, bodhicitta fields. When you say bodhicitta fields, just visualizing all beings are your, near and dear one. So they are with us to take the journey, to follow the path to enlightenment, to follow the path to eradicate all negativity of the body, speech, and mind, and cultivate, gain all the positivity and the good qualities of the body, speech, and mind. Okay, so we have the refuge field, visualize the refuge field and the bodhicitta fields, and then the main purpose of practice is, to cultivate, some single point meditation. Our mind more stable and meditative concentration, which is known as a shamatha meditation. And then another form of meditation is analytical meditation, right? So let's do a few minutes, shamatha meditation, meaning single point meditation. So all the Buddhas, Bodhisattva in front of us, and all the Buddha, all the dear Mother Century is also with us. So let's try to meditate, focusing on our own breath. Single pointedly focus our mind on our breath and breathe, exhale and inhale very naturally. And we will do a few minutes of single point meditation, okay? I got a singing bowl. So here, we'll start single point meditation about 4 to 5 minutes. It's okay. So ready? Okay, so you can do a little stretch. So I think last time we were talking about I think it was what that helpful. This, the summary of the Lamrim, the volume number 1. Did you read the one that I post in the WhatsApp chat? Because if you have time to read through the whole text, it's very, very helpful because it has many examples and many citation from the sutra and from Buddha's teaching, and then other and then the master's citation for each and every topics. And because I didn't go through that whole text because we have just few kind of months. No, I don't know how many sessions we had, and it wasn't really. I wasn't sure whether it really go. If you go one by one, you won't be able to finish, and that's why I thought I was just trying to give the essence to try to extract what it's talking about the chapter in God, but just going by the the each chapter, the content of each chapter. The chapter 1 was Lamatisha's life and sorry. Let me just have some water. So chapter 1 is talking about Master Atisha's life and his legacy, his activities, what he have done for the Buddha Dharma and the Sentient being in India, and what he have done in Tibet, right? And a little bit with the story, just brief story about how he came to become the brilliant teachers, mind training teacher who really put the Buddha's teaching into like a very precise, like a category, renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, and then six breath. How do you really, engage yourself into the mind training, with the authentic teachings, So Lama Tesha's life in India and Tibet, right? And it's good to know where he was born and what he was done when I think, did I tell you, he became a monk when at the age of 29. Before that, he was, staying at home and learning from very young, like very, very young age. He was really inspired with the Buddha's teaching. And he was very smart and very compassionate. And because of this indication, well, these are, it's meant to, these are like an indication that those who have very good imprint from previous life. You see? So because of that, so how come that previous life and future life and present life? And we need to know about the mind, in the nature of the consciousness, the nature of the mind, and how these take place from, how it really travel from one to the, one to the after, one to another, meaning from previous life to the present and then the future. You don't have to force people to, accept rebirth system. What you need to do is we need to really understand our own mind, how this really work. And that's what meaning like how to really, if you really recognize our mind, how it works, and then there's a way that how can you really transform it, right? So anyway, so while it's talking about Lama Tisha's life, and then his teaching, the greatness of his teaching, and meaning, the Lama Dishes put, the lamp through the path to enlightenment, which was a written commentary of the Buddha's teaching, the Profession of Wisdom Sutra teaching, which was, Buddha's given at Vulture Peak in Rajgir, near Bodh Gaya in northern India. So these places are there, and so this is a commentary of those teaching. It has, did I tell you how many volumes it has? The translation, the whole complete, the Sanskrit version which was translated into Tibetan language. It has the vast meaning extensive on the professional wisdom teaching. It has, it's known as in Tibetan, Bum, which means 100,000 verses. 100,000 verses, which has a really this much thick volumes, 108. Okay, no, these are really important to know. It has like a extensive one, the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, because the Lamrim, the great gradual path to enlightenment, which is commentary of the Lama Atisha's, Lamp to the Path to Enlightenment. And the Lamp to the Path to Enlightenment is a commentary. Atisha's wrote the commentary on the Professional Wisdom Sutra. I think I told you the 3 training wheel of Dharma, right? First training wheel of Dharma on Four Noble Truth. Second training wheel of Dharma is on the professional wisdom, meaning emptiness and bodhicitta. Okay, and this has 3 versions. Extensive one is 100,000 verses, which has 108 volumes. This fix the translation, and then the middle one, it has 20,000 verses. It's known as 20, like in Tibetan called Niti, meaning 20,000 verses. Verses meaning 4 lines each. Okay, so 20,000 verses, and in the book form, in volume, 3 volumes. And then the short version, it has 8,000 verses. It's 1 volume. You must have seen the Tibetan, the traditional, like books. Usually it's like a length. It's not really in a book form. Usually, traditionally, you write like a kind of. It's known as a pecha in the traditional Tibetan text. So the short version, it has 8,000 verses and 1 volumes. And Sutra is very, very short version, very short version. And, the Professional Wisdom Sutra, it has, meaning there are 17 different sutras are there. 17. So out of the 17, I just mentioned the most extensive one, the middle one, and then the like a little bit less version, and like a short one, and then very short one, Sutra, and this interestingly, just one letter, one syllable. Have you heard that? In the Tibetan alphabet, you have the consonant and the vowels. The Sanskrit or in English also, you have the consonant and the consonant and then what vowels, right? So the Sanskrit language in the scripture, it has 16 vowels and I think 36 consonant. And have you heard that? Is also one short version of Professional Wisdom Sutra. Interesting. That's the shortest version, the example given in the many of the classical textbooks. Can you imagine? What does that mean? Meaning, when you say the shortest version of the Professional Wisdom Sutra, meaning just one syllable it explained the whole Buddha's teaching of the Lamrim, the Lamrim where it starts, looking at the preciousness of human rebirth, right? And it's go all the way up to the no more learning path, meaning until the Buddhahood. So it has like a step-by-step, sequentially. And one syllable explain everything in it. So how can you really grasp that? But if you train, if you really, just the two paths that lead to Buddhahood, to lead to a complete freedom. Freedom meaning free from affliction. Okay, when I'm saying freedom, free from affliction, free from mental, the destructive emotion. Let's say that. Let's put it that way. We, if you train our mind toward loving, kindness, compassion, generosity, all this, and slowly, gradually, we will become free from some of this, unwanted sort of emotion, some of the unwanted, emotion that disturb us. So that's why, we want to free ourselves from the fear, free ourselves from attachment, that's non-helpful attachment, free ourselves from ignorance, that's the root, and free ourselves from jealousy, free ourselves from envy, free ourselves from anger, free ourselves from, in the Buddhist psychology, where it's identified like a 6 root affliction which bind us into samsara, meaning cycle existence, and then 20 secondary affliction. They are disturbing us into, and they are actually there's responsible binding us into this, like this samsara, meaning the suffering, the cycling, suffering into this samsara. Okay, so why I'm saying I is just one syllable, which is the shortest version of Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. Okay, it's classical text has mentioned this. I said it's 17 different 17 different Perfection of Wisdom Sutras are there, and then if you read this, it's quite easy to understand. We, like in Tibetan society, in the Daki society, we have the tradition to read the whole Buddha's teaching, the 108 volumes, and the 3 volumes, or the 2, whatever. And on the special occasion, for example, like a Buddha's Enlightenment. And then there's the first month in the lunar calendar is known as the month of miracle. When Buddhas play miracle power to tame those, some of those, my mind is really disturbed, and really a lot of destruction is, like creating in the society. So in certain individuals who are disturbed their mind, because we have to be really sympathized, we have to be really compassionate to those people, because they are not aware what they're doing is wrong. So because of that, Buddha have to place some miracle power with a great compassion to tame their mind. So because of that, the first month in lunar calendar is known as the month of miracle power, miracle month. The Tibetan or the Himalaya, the Ladakhi society, we have the tradition to read this sutra. All the people gathered together in, like here, where you are, where you are all gathered in the Forest of Wisdom right now, and just, sit in circle. And then what we do, we just divide 3 or 4 pages for each people, and then we just read. And when I was like 7, 8 years, I used to go and join my fathers and some other monks, and you read this. So it's really helpful, actually. They, each one they talk about it. It's very extensive, very, very, very vast. But then to study the whole 108 volumes, it's impossible, right? And because of that, Maitreya Buddha, the Buddha, loving kindness Buddha. Do you all know my Maitreya Buddha, right? Have you heard? Buddha Maitreya. Okay, it's known as a future Buddha too. So Maitreya Buddha have written commentary, very, very important commentary, 5. And out of them, one is called the Ornament of the Clear Realization. Okay, ornament, ornament again, yes. ornament of the clear realization, which is, the content, the subject matter is the same as the Lama Atisha's, the path, the lamp of the path to enlightenment. And then Lama Tsongkhapa written the Lamrim Chemo, and the Lamrim Chemo is the greatest, the stages of the path to enlightenment. And then he has written actually 18 different volumes, commentaries, because it elaborate in using different metaphors and different examples like that. Okay, so with the chapter 2, which is the greatness of the teaching. So the Lamrim teaching is that there's a two very special feature, very special, unique. How would you say? It has some uniqueness of this the teaching that Lama Tsongkhapa composed on the commentary of all this wisdom, all this great thought of the past master Buddha Shakyamuni, and the Maitreya Buddha, and our Avalokiteshvara, and then Buddha of Wisdom, which is known as Arya Manjushri. So Lama Atisha's text, how it shows, it's just the way that he present, all the Buddha's teaching. There's no contradiction in it. It's just whatever teaching that Buddha have given is just understand as like a special personal kind of instruction. What is the greatest, you have to look at what does it mean by the greatness of the teaching. For example, the 3 high training, training in ethical discipline, training in samadhi, meditative concentration, or the training into discipline or a moral discipline, training in samadhi or meditative concentration, and then training into wisdom. So these all when we are really study and practice, these all complement each other. There's no contradiction between each. And then again, about the 4 tenet system, Vibhashika tenet system, Swatantika tenet system, and then Chittamatra tenet system, and then the Madhyamika, how they explain about the reality. And yes, there's a lot of argument. You can do a lot of debate and discuss, but they are all like kind of stair. If you want to climb up to the on top. So if you have to, you have to go step by step, right? They are like a stair. The Vibhashika way of explaining about the true truth. Vibhashika way of explaining, presenting about the true truth. So do you know the true truth? Can someone say what are the true truth? Because without understanding, yes, was that?
Conventional truth and ultimate truth.
Thank you. Yeah, conventional truth and ultimate truth. So Vibhashika way of explaining conventional truth and ultimate truth. And then Swatantika way of explaining conventional truth and ultimate truth. So each one of they have. And then when it comes to conventional truth and ultimate truth, so the Vibhashika way of explaining is a little bit easier to understand, meaning more gross. With a little bit grosser than Swatantika. And then the Swatantika explanation is a little bit grosser than Chittamatra. And then Chittamatra explanation is a little bit grosser than the Prasangika, Madhyamika. And then the Madhyamika, within the Madhyamika, you have 2. Swatantika Madhyamika and then Prasangika Madhyamika. So we said that Prasangika Madhyamika is the highest view. It's the highest, meaning the ultimate explanation of the emptiness and dependent origination. And so in order to be able to really understand the highest level, we have to understand the lower one, correctly. So if you understand the lower and explanation, lower meaning other explanation correctly, it really helps to climb up. Same thing, the Lamrim teaching, it's explained each and every details from starting the preciousness of human rebirth, So even, let me see, the greatestness of the teachings, it has some special kind of a unique feature in it. In all Buddha's teaching, he actually present all Buddha's teaching like a special personal instruction for each one of us. But we have to actually prepare our mind. How can you really look at like this? Okay, let's see where is the greatness of the teachings. Yeah. Yeah, all Buddha's teaching are special personal instruction, meaning there's no contradiction, and whatever teaching that he have given is special, instruction, special pith, in another word called pith instruction. So this is the special, way, or the special way that Lama Tsongkhapa present to us. Okay, and the meditation, I think I'll explain a little bit about the what goes, the misconception about meditation, right? So why Lama Tisha was invited to Tibet was there were, the main thing is the Tibetan need help to because there was a declining was happening, and because of that they need to establish the Buddhist teaching again. And that was the main thing. And then when once he's there, he wrote that books that's really helpful universally accepted, meaning there's no contradiction. Anybody can study, anybody can, make it's like anybody can adapt, anybody can apply into this teaching. There's no contradiction, no kind of confusion. And because of this, why some of the misconception about the meditation. I think where was that? I told you a little bit about the story. There was a Hashang, meaning it's known as a Chinese Mahayana. Hashang, who were introducing some meditation that, empty your mind, not thinking about, not really, the thought, so many thoughts come in our mind, right? So there are two types of thoughts, right? One thought is really helpful. Another thought, it's one thought that we don't need to have this much. It's like discursive thought. One thought that call is discursive thought. It's just that disturb your mind, meaning declining our mental ability, disturbing our, the constructive mind that we want to build, we want to cultivate in our mind. So what he was teaching, he was the Chinese Mahayana, who the meditation, you don't analyze, you don't use the object. When we did the meditation, or like single point meditation, our mind has to be, we should keep our mind is like very alertness, very clear and steady, and just try to focus on the intended object very clearly, and try to really, stay focused on the intended object for a longer period of time by not losing the clarity as well as the stability. So that's why it needed, because for analytical meditation, the single point meditation, these two has to go side by side. Otherwise, we won't be able to analyze very correctly. When we really meditate, when we really try to study emptiness or impermanence, we have to use a lot of logic and reason to understand what exactly it is. So in order to be able to use the logic, we need the correct logic and the correct reason. We need to do a lot of analytical meditation. So if you're able to really analyzing, correctly, the stability should be there. Our mind, the stability meaning our mind should not really scatter. If our mind is wandering everywhere, we won't be able to, meditate, on this analytical, we won't be able to do, good meditation or analytical meditation. So because of that, the shamatha meditation, meaning single point meditation, and then the vipassana meditation, which is wisdom, we need to sharpen our wisdom. So to sharpen our wisdom, we need to do the analytical meditation. And to make the, the sharpen wisdom very vast, profound, and sharp, quick, to do, we have to have the stability, the single point of meditation. So because of that, there was some misunderstanding or misinformation. That's one of some teacher coming to Tibet and giving this teaching for many people, and then many people are following that. Misunderstandings are going on there, and because of that, they invite his Lama Atisha to Tibet to really unify, to really revive whatever the declinations are taking place. So this is the legacy that Lama Atisha left in Tibet, and then this training is really with us now, because he have written many teachings, and then his lineage, the traditions known as the Kadamba tradition. Have you heard that? Kadamba tradition. Ka mean Buddhist teaching, but Ka mean Ka, the Tibetan word. Ka mean teaching. Damba means like a special instruction. Okay, so this tradition came, Lama Atisha, and after that there were so many great teachers like Geshe Langri Thangpa, the 8 verses of mind training, and then 7-point mind training. Have you heard this word? 8 verses training the mind. Geshe Langri Thangpa. I think these are all from Lamrim, okay? 8 verses of mind training. Maybe keep in your mind, okay? 8 verses, the training the mind by Geshe Langri Thangpa. Geshe means teacher, special spiritual friends. It's from Tibet. And then 7-point mind training. There are so many this teaching that giving, which was which was taught Lama Atisha, and then all the other teachers, and then Lama Tsongkhapa. All right. So the chapter 5, which was actually refuting misconception about meditation. Refuting misconception about meditation meanings, you don't think anything, just stay yourself, like stop all this thought coming in your mind. Just stay away from the thought coming out, meaning you're dulling yourself. You are really making yourself like a fool. I'm sorry. This is really happening. Because this is really happening. It was really happening. Because, I guess it's look like, some people whose mind is really disturbed, sometimes they are try to find something and they use drug, right? And then they get high, or maybe they just make yourself like a stone because you don't feel anything. You just try to yourself like a numb, right? Your body, mind, and just when your body, mind is more kind of numb, and there's no feeling, no pain, no gain, no pleasure, nothing. You just, become kind of, not really like, when Bodhisattva Shantideva, Shantideva says, when other people are causing you to get angry, and instead of you getting angry, you just remain as a piece of wood. That's actually the strength of the patient, not really, making yourself like a fool. It's not really like a flashing back, like anger cannot destroy by anger. Only patient can destroy. Same thing, hate cannot destroy by hate. Only love can do. So these are the just help each other like a medicine, and the poison and the medicine. In order to be able to remove the poison within our mind and the body, We need the correct correct. We need the right medicine, the correct medicine. So if you want to remove all the affliction, all this disturbing mind within ourselves, we need the correct remedy, which was Lamadisha. Buddha, of course, the Buddha Shakyamuni, Lamadisha, and Lama Tsongkhapa given to us, right? So because of that, we have to make sure that we are on the right track on the meditation, the teaching, and practicing. So misconceptions are there. It's good to just aware the misconceptions are happening, and then that gives you, okay, I need to find the right path, or I need to find the, like a correct, teaching, which teaching, and I think last week I said, teaching is like the medicine, right? So the Buddha is like the doctor. His teaching is like the medicine. And the Sangha is like spiritual, like a friends, like a nurses, or the nurses, those who are helping the patient in the hospital. We are like a patient, meaning we have illnesses. How many of you think we have illnesses? Other than physical illnesses. We all have illnesses, right? And what are the illnesses? We need, do we have like a correct medicine for this? For physical illnesses, physical, health, when we have physical health problem, and you go to the doctor and the doctor give you the medicine, and then you eat the medicine, right? So Buddha, who diagnoses our illnesses, which are the root causes of all the trouble, all the miseries, all the suffering, ignorance, attachment, aversion. These are the illnesses that we have. And then the medicine, the teaching is like the medicine, right? So that's why we have to have the correct medicine. If they give the wrong medicine, it make you worse, right? Same thing when you are meditating, if you're not really thinking anything, just try to blank in your mind, that make you dull. That's not really correct medicine. So then we have to find the correct medicine. So because of that, the Tibetan kings put a lot of effort to invite Lama Tisha to Tibet to give the right to correct. They already have from the 7th, 8th centuries, the translation, the teacher, many great teachers were there to give the teaching and translating the teaching. But over time, some declination took place, and because of that, Lama Tisha went to Tibet, and then really, they had actually debate. Oh my gosh. Lama Tisha and then one of his disciple, Kamaleshila, Dr. Kamaleshila, he was also invited to Tibet. And then the Hashang, those who were, promoting this meditation, and some of them were there. And this story really helped, actually. And when the Lama Kamaleshila was invited to Tibet to really debate, sit with those people who are really, promoting the meditation about the, empty your mind. And so when he arrived at Tibet, and he said, usually he have the mala, right? And he was just, this is, have you seen this? He was just, he was doing like this. That means, do you follow the correct reason or not? Do you really follow? Do you really follow? Do you really use your mind and try to find the solution or not? And he said nothing. He just do like this. And in central Tibet, there's a place called Samye. I think Samye is the first monastery or the temple that built in late 7th and early 8th century. And where they discuss with this Hashang and the Lama Kamaleshila. And then, the Hashang, the Chinese Mayan, those teachers who are promoting this, wrong teaching, they defeated and then established the Tibetan teaching authentic. So these are, and I'm not saying Chinese meaning all Chinese. There are some in history And I think a few years ago, there's one, I know, maybe some of you know, Gen Ishitapke, there's a great teachers, Gishi Ishitapke, who is, I think he's in Texas and teaching. How many of you know Sharasti Abbey? Sharasti Abbey? Yeah, Melinda, you know, right? So Sharasti Abbey actually invited to Gen Rinpoche to teach on one of the Lobun Kamaleshlet, Acharya Kamaleshlet's textbooks. I think that's the meditation, the stage of the meditation, I think. And we really did that. And there's another text. And he was really explaining very, very much into detail about this debate, about the discussion, the debate that the Lama Kamaleshila with the Chinese, teacher who were promoting about this meditation. I was listening. I actually joined a few times online. I think a few years ago, it was available online. Some of you, if you have like a time, you can listen to them. This great teacher. He's, I think, 95 or 6 now, but his mind is still so sharp. And yeah, so these are some of the, because, some of you know the Sharasti Abbey. Yes, Linda, do you have anything to say?
I just have a question about, you said the Chinese came in and were saying if you just empty your mind, don't think anything, that's the right way to meditate. But I mean, if somebody does that, does it give them a false perception of having an insight? I mean, do you feel something? I mean, there must have been some benefit people thought they were getting from doing that. I'm just wondering, I mean, I feel like, does it feel like, oh, I'm enlightened, or I don't know, do people feel like they're getting, how does it feel to do that? And that's why I'm wondering why people did it. You know what I mean? Like what result
I
did
guess,
it bring?
Right. Empty your mind, meaning you're not really gaining knowledge, more like, when you do the meditation on the shamatha meditation, the applying the right antidote, mindfulness and introspection. So, the two main obstacle, or the two main obstacle that really cultivate pure mindfulness, introspection, I mean, the shamatha and vipassana, the mental excitement and then mental dullness. It's in Tibetan, you call it a qingwa. Qingwa means mental sinking. When our mind is sinking, when our minds become dull. So if you do not really analyze, if you're not really sharpening your mind, our mind can become dull. And when our mind is really dull, I think there's no kind of, feeling, sharp sort of feelings are there. And you maybe feel not pain or pleasure or sort of thing. And just live, remaining in kind of neutral. That's why the feeling, pleasure feeling, unpleasant feeling, and neutral feeling, because we all have feeling, right? The mental factors. When you study the Buddhist psychology, where we have a 5 omnipresent mental factors, or 5 everlasting mental factors. One of them is actually let me see. So what do you say? Anyway, let's say the feeling. We have a feeling. Feeling is a mental factors. We have sensory feeling and then mental feeling. So feeling, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and neutral feeling. Neutral feeling is actually, it has some sort of like a mental dullness, ignorance. I haven't seen people use ignorance in there. Of course, ignorance influence all affliction. Ignorance influence all affliction, but if your mind, if your feeling is just remaining neutral, that's not good thing. Neutral, you have no really clarity is there, you don't have the stabilities there. It's just makes you make yourself like make yourself like a kind of dull. So, then do you think it's a good? It's not good. It's okay. Yes.
I thought that what they were saying about Hashan's teaching being incomplete, not that it was inherently bad, but just that it didn't acknowledge conventional truth and that it didn't acknowledge method.
Yes, exactly.
Not that it was inherently, like they were saying, like it's almost like it's an ultimate shamana thing. Like it's it's not that it's not clarity though, right? I thought it was just that it was incomplete.
It's not complete. It may be giving some sort of temporary, if some people who very much disturb your mind, if temporarily, if you do this kind of meditation, temporarily you feel that you are having little rest or some kind of resting sort of, but it's not complete. It's not encouraging you to, walk toward liberation, to cut ignorance and apply the wisdom and identify ignorance. Illusion is the root cause to bring all the miseries. It's making yourself like a more dullness rather than sharpening yourself. Rather than you really transforming your mind into like sharp wisdom and compassion. So not really encouraging to study. The main thing is not encouraging the vast study and reflection and meditation. Instead, just one instruction giving and just dulling it, like emptying your mind, not all this thought actually disturb you. Just empty this, don't think anything, and just maintain yourself like a stone or something like that. So I mean, they may have some elegant speak, and that's this some way to draw people to what they were saying, but it's not complete teaching. It's not really giving you the right antidote to really eradicate ignorance, which is in order to be able to eradicate, in order to be able to remove ignorance from root, you have to just cultivate the correct view. The correct view, which is exactly the opposite of opposite of ignorance, which is knowing the reality as it is. Emptiness meaning empty of how it appear is real, how it appear and how it really exists. So we need to do, when you do the meditation of emptiness, how it appear from the object side and then the reality. There's a for us, for ordinary people, for beginner people, there's a big gap. But if you go closer to look about how it appear and how it exists, there's a big gap in between. And when you just try to go, when you try to meditate closer to, and all this clinging, grasping so strongly, these are misperception. We are really perceiving the reality. So you need to really see how the reality exists, and then that's only through training the wisdom, which is that the three out of the three training. The last one, training the wisdom. For that, we need to do a lot of analytical meditation. Otherwise, impossible. Yes, Jasala?
Yeah, so kind of building off Scott and Melinda's question here, it seems to me like what Kashan is proposing is, or maybe what's getting confused is that like the bliss of shamatha, right? Really attaining that level of mental and physical pliancy, right? And taking that as the goal, right? Or that is going to spontaneously emerge into like vipassana. That's just going to give you vipassana for free, right? By attaining this kind of level of non-discursive, no thoughts, right? But still having a clear mind, right? I think that's still part for, I think this is like still a prevalent view. But I guess, and just from like the practitioner's perspective, this kind of gets into like, how do you not confuse like good meditative achievements, like really attaining a shamatha, like a state of shamatha, with with like the ultimate goal, right? With liberation. So are there certain signs along the way that, okay, really this is now you're developing vipassana, right? You're actually developing special sight, through certain forms of practice, like, so
I
how,
see.
from the practitioner's perspective, what are the indications? What are the feelings that, oh yeah, I am heading in the right direction in these practices?
I see. Yeah, I know you pointed many important, kind of point here. Yeah, the plancy, the bliss, exactly. If you do really the proper meditation or shamatha, and then both the physical plancy and the mental plancy has, you could really develop. But again, plants, when you are really achieve mental and physical plancy, our mind and our body, it become more serviceable to our growth, our spiritual growth, our path. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a deeper understanding what you're saying. Exactly. That's really good. So did you ask any question, or you're just more comment?
Yeah. So my question is sort of like, because I
what
guess
are the indication? What are the indication?
Yeah, because like there's one way of viewing Hashan's practice as actually he's just confusing pliancy for enlightenment or something.
Right. Maybe he might be using pliancy, that name, the same term, but in reality, it's not the pliancy that explained like the classical text and then the real practitioner pliancy. So when we are really achieving the real, mental and physical pliancy, and then we can use our body and mind for whatever realization we really want to achieve. If you really achieve the mental plancy, some of them can develop, cultivate the real one, and then our minds always become like a service, become like a right antidote to rid of the root cause of all the trouble, all the problem. So yeah, they may have it. He may. I don't know. I haven't read much about that, but what the textbooks says, the history says, there's a confusing that giving this some of the instruction which is not really the right, it's not really the proper, like a meditation to understand the reality, which understand the real essence of the Buddha's teaching, interdependency and the emptiness. And that right, by realizing the emptiness, how your mind become right antidote, right medicines to rid of the root causes of the samsara, the obstacle, we would say the main obstacle, affliction and the cognitive obscuration. These two need to be removed in order to be able to become yourself like a completely fully knowledgeable person. So this, more like they're looking more like a kind of easy way, or maybe not putting much effort, because when you say practice and study, meditate, and the practice of the sixth perfection of wisdom, where you have to have this, ethical discipline is the number one, right? Joyous effort. This all six perfection goes side by side, and they're all complement each other. And yes, when you study, we have to study one by one to know the what does it really meaning, what does it mean by this ethical discipline and the sixth perfection, like a generosity. And what does it mean by generosity? Is to wish to give, generous. The main thing is the mind that you really want to be generous. And then it has like a three different forms that you can be generous. Generosity of material, giving material thing, and again giving time, teaching, and then the generosity of protection. So the protection meaning, if you protect some others alive and someone who are in danger of their life, if you really rescue those people or the animals, you are really practicing generosity of protection. And you just go one by one and learn, and then practice all the 6 or the 10 perfection it goes just one by side by side. You cannot really just practice one single one without without really involving the others. So probably what the Hashang may be promoting, maybe he has some use good kind of a term or languages there, or that's why people are running after. But in reality, not really giving the right like right teachings or the right if you don't get the right teaching, then your mind cannot transform into the right direction. If our mind cannot right direction, if you don't have the right realization, impossible to eradicate the root causes. If you are not really able to eradicate or remove the root causes, impossible to have the correct realization. Yes, Lisa, do you have any question? Yes.
Yeah, well, I kind of have a point, and then I do have a question. I think when you're talking about completely just emptying your mind, right? Trying to ignore what you're feeling, right? You might be able to accomplish that, getting rid of the infliction in your mind, but your body still needs to release that. Your body still needs to get rid of the affliction. So if you were trying to block out or empty the mind, but you're not allowing your body to release it, it's going to hold on to that affliction. Right? So you're emptying your mind, but your body, you haven't released it from your body. So your body still holds on to it. And then that affliction at some point will keep coming back, and it will keep affecting your mental clarity. It's kind of one of my points. But my question is, going back to where we were talking about this single point meditation, is that always the breath? Is the breath always the single point meditation? And then when you are doing your analytical meditation, if something arises, a mental distraction, destructive thought, when you're in that analytical meditation, do you come back to that single point meditation just being the breath? Or can that single point just be whatever is really afflicting you?
Okay. All right. So, Lisa, you have two things that you said about the empty your mind and the empty body. Okay. So what do you mean by stay in your affliction, stay your mind? Sorry, affliction, stay in your mind and body.
I think if you are always just like, if you're trying to,
no. I think 1 minute, just a minute.
Yep.
Okay, our body, our mind, yes, in reality, exist conventionally, but in ultimate level, so it doesn't really exist how it appeared to you. That's what we need to meditate on the emptiness of self. Emptiness of self and the emptiness of phenomena. When you are meditating on emptiness of self, and you have to check about, when we are meditating, so. And when you say I am meditating, for example, just take let's say just very simple way, but it's not that simple. Okay, for example, we are sitting here like this, and then we are meditating. And then who is meditating? And just look at, the body and mind. We have got the body and mind, right? And so where is the self? Where is the self? Whether the body is the self or the mind is the self. So we have to meditate on emptiness of self, meaning the body and the mind are not the self, because the body and the mind is the basis of the self, meaning the designation. Self is designated based on the body and the mind. So because of that, body and the mind is not the self. But our mind think that self is somewhere here, is pink. We can really find or findable somewhere from the body or the mind. We need to meditate on the, meditating oneself. The self is meditating, and then where's the self? and check on when you're checking on the body, which is the sixth element, right? The sixth element, bodies has been made of six elements, right? And then you should check on the six elements are like the element of earth. We need to check on the elements of what are there, the skin, that all this, the solid part of our body is the elements of earth. And then element of the water, and these are all not self. It's just, for example, when you say my hand, not the hand me, my hand, how can I say, this is interesting one. Lisa, you brought something very interesting one, because you say I make your body and your mind is the basis where you designated Lisa. Lisa, where is Lisa? Okay, let me ask you. Can you pinpoint Lisa within your body and mind?
Probably not, no.
No, right? So then you have to check about why not, and then say, okay, if you pinpoint, if there is Lisa within your body and the mind, and either the skin or the bone or the flesh or the organ or the mind, the head or the toe, these are not the mind. These are not Lisa. This is the basis. Lisa is actually just a label. This, you are called a Lisa based on your body and mind. There's somebody labeled as Lisa. It's just merely label based on your aggregates. In other words, based on your aggregates, you're labeled as a Lisa. But how it appears to us, ordinary people like us, when you're living, how it appears to us, it's just always like it just appeared that something inside. It just appears self is somewhere inside. That's the self-grasping. We are grasping. We think that something some very solid or something that objectively there existed. But if you go closer to where is it? Just roll out the sixth element or the five aggregate. You cannot find anything within your body and mind that's called this is Lisa, or this is Melinda, or this is Kate, like a Carrie. There's nothing out there, but we label it. We think because the self-grasping, it's not easy to recognize the misperception of self, the misconceiving self, like a selfhood, but in reality it's selflessness. But we grasp as a selfhood. Because of the body and this mind, we think that we are somewhere here. Meaning grasping, naturally grasping. This habituation came from like a life after life. It's not easy to rid of it, but we can do a lot of analyzing about where is me. Well, self is mere designated, or one word. Self is mere designated based on the aggregates. So that's it. We can't really pinpoint. We cannot find where is. You cannot really pinpoint. This is me. If you say my body is me, there's so many contradictions come. If you think my mind is me, there's so many contradictions come. But when you study the five tenet system, some Vibhashika, where they said the whole body is the self. Some says each one of the five aggregates are self. So these are very kind of fascinating thing that we can study. But the Prasangika views and the highest views, self is just mere designated on the base on the aggregates. That's it. So to understand that, we need to understand this, the different levels of interdependency. Interdependence is a cause, and interdependence with respect to the cause and effect. Interdependence of the whole and the part. And then the third one is called interdependence, a mere mental designation. So these are all, this will come in detail actually in the, I think the 3rd volume of Lamrim on the special insight. It's called Special Insight, where it explain very details with many different example and different, like analogies, something like that. I think we are already, our time is already finished. And yeah, it's 11:30, right?
Yes.
Okay, so well, thank you so much for everyone, and really enjoy. It's a great joy to see all of you at physically there, and I encourage you to come for the teaching that Author Rinpoche is coming to teach next weeks. So another 10 weeks you will be enjoy his teaching, and I'm sure you will learn a lot. That will be great. And maybe whenever you need it, I'm here. I'll keep it open, and we can have another classes whenever you need it. Okay. And it's a great joy to see all of you. And at Lobsam, like he is translating for Rinpoche, right? That's good. So really helpful for, I wasn't sure who is translating. So because I thought he's coming to Sarah for study. It looks like he's going to stay, sometime there. That's good for you, for his wisdom and for all of you, right? Because, having teaching in person is big differences there, right? And I'm sure he will do a great job to translate for him. And even though I haven't met Rinpoche in person, but looks like he's a good teacher. It looks like he's traveling different places to teach. So, which is, great. Very fortunate to having in-person teaching for the, next 10 weeks, I think, right? Something like that. And let's dedicate our, merit that, create together, and to dedicate whatever the merit that we have created just for the long live for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and his teaching, loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom that spread across the world, and to benefit many beings, to to minimize the suffering, and eventually completely eradicate the suffering and the causes of suffering for all beings. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kishima.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a good day, and enjoy the teachings, and then we can meet another time. All right? Okay.
I'll see you again. Thank you.
Bye. See you. Bye-bye. Bye.